I started YouTube just to get out of poverty quick enough. I had this small motorcycle, Yamaha 100cc motorcycle. Its name was Antichrist and it had like a skull face on its headlights. Everything just tanked out. My videos were being pushed to Asia. I was being paid 0.0 something. Grew up in the village, living the village, gone to university, studied law, then coming to the United States, not coming just to the United States, but coming and integrating with inside the Mennonite community, which is a culture inside, a conservative culture inside America, getting baptized, joining the church, becoming a Mennonite. Hi, thank you guys for tuning in. By the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing why I think I'm on the verge of quitting YouTube after creating content for the last, I believe, 5 years or so. I think I'm finally on the brink of quitting. But first, let us go do some chores. We are just from church, and this is gonna be part of me opening up myself and my family to you guys, because this is the part I did not want to share. I did not want to put it public just to protect my family. I mean, yeah, I was scared of putting out every information about me out there. So let's go do some chores. Let me walk you guys around and sit down and talk about content creation and why I feel it's time to quit. What I do have here is a bottle of blue. Basically, it's a dye used in ponds, and I did not find out about this until maybe a week ago. And we've been struggling a lot. We have this fountain over here that was kind of like done. It was cracked, so I restored it, put concrete on it, sealed everything, bought a new mortar. I mean, replaced the old one that had died, and put water into this. The same thing as the pond over there, which I'm going to be showing you guys in a minute. So the pond was so done. My wife had worked on it, but then when I came here, I cleaned it up and expanded it a little. But we have been struggling with algae, especially in the summer. The algae just go crazy. So somebody told us, I believe it's one of our little nieces, told us about this thing called pond dye. Actually, they called it blue, and I put it for the first time, and it made it so blue and perfect, same as the fish pond. But now I think it's starting to fade away and it's turning kind of like green. So I'm gonna add a little bit more onto it, then add a little bit more onto the fish pond. It is so concentrated, and because I do not wanna overdo it, I'm just gonna insert a stick in here and get the dye onto the stick. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it right onto it. See that? Then I'm gonna do it again. I think only 2 dips are enough. This thing is super concentrated. I put this last week. It had turned blue and nice, but now it's starting to turn green. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it on the fountain there so that it mixes it really easily. I'm coming, Chowder. Dip it again. And also, I think this is the best way because I don't want to get the ink on myself. Yes. See how blue it is. A little bit more, then we are done. I think that's enough. Look at our little garden over here. Yeah, I made this out of cedar lumber, the garden boxes, and we're having peas, beans, we have lots of tomatoes to can, and sweet corn. We've got really nice chicken over here. I constructed this after getting here to the US, and probably it's one of my nicest projects that I've ever done in my life. I'm gonna let these chickies out so that they can get to feed on this wonderful grass that we have over here. Beautiful little nice chickens. This brings me to the topic of growing your own food in America and eating healthy. So in Africa, we used to think that in America people live in concrete jungles and they don't grow their own food. They only eat inorganic food, and what we had in mind, or what I thought was food that is not organic, was food that was genetically engineered and probably grown in a lab, until I came here and found out that food that is not organic or inorganic food is actually food that has been grown, and in the process of their growth, farmers have used synthetic fertilizers, or they've sprayed the crops with the insecticides or pesticides, and forth. And I'm really glad I have a wife that is interested in growing our own food and canning. So we eat pretty much what we grow and what we can. Yes, she cans food, and we produce so many eggs from this little cute small house. We had a little bit over 10 chickens, but now they've died and we have just a few left. We still have we still have excess eggs, and we are really glad everything is working out really nicely, because we are using the same eggs in our greenhouse bakery, and people like it. People like organic food here. People like chicken that, let me show you what they're doing. You see the way they're pecking on the grass? Yeah, so the eggs that have been produced from chicken that freely roam around here are really valuable. That is what I've learned. So anyway, let's get back to the topic of this video. Where should I start? So I started my YouTube channel. I remember the first YouTube channel that I started was called African Marcel. It's still the same YouTube channel as this, because I've been changing content over the years, and I think that has been my biggest misfortune. I started it back in 2001 in my final year in law school, and the reason why I started YouTube was because I'd watched somebody called Wodemaya and got really inspired, got to learn more about YouTube, and actually realized if people are traveling the world making content, then content pays, and pays a really good money. And as I said, I was in my last year of law school, really broke, and we do not come in a family that is well off. We're just another middle class family in Africa, which in American standards you'd consider that poor, extremely poor. And there was always this constant strive and the urge to get out of poverty. And I still had 2 more years to go through the Kenya School of Law before I got admitted. And for some reason, I never had mentors. I never really understood the practice of law. And what was out there was all the negative things about lawyers, about how lawyers don't make money. So I got to learn that wasn't the case later on when I was doing my pupillage at a top tier law firm in Nakuru that was making good money and the practice was good, and yeah, I realized, oh man, I was wrong. A lot of people are wrong about the issue of lawyers not making, lawyers struggling. So anyway, back in 2021, I stopped a YouTube channel, wanted to travel, but then soon figured out that I can't travel because I don't have money to travel. And I think travel content, you really have to have really good money to to travel to different places, to show people different amazing things that would get them out and keep on watching you. And remember, I had not monetized my YouTube channel, so I wasn't making any money. But then I had this small motorcycle. It was a Yamaha 100 cc motorcycle. Its name was Antichrist, and it had like a skull face on its headlights. So I started YouTube, and I think I'm confident enough to say I started YouTube just to get out of poverty quick enough. So I soon realized, hey, I cannot sustain this. I cannot even make content good enough. And then there's always that learning curve, because the moment you put a camera in front of your face, it becomes, you have to master the art of creating content. Otherwise, it's just, I don't know how to explain this, but if you've tried making content or filming yourself, you just don't like the result. So I decided to change my YouTube channel's name to The Food Tourist, and I decided to pivot to making food videos, because food videos are easily accessible and I could kill two birds with one stone: travel and eat food. And by that time I was watching Sony of the best ever food review and got inspired to start a YouTube channel. So, and at that time I'd got to the Kenya School of Law now. So I had a little bit of money on my Kenya School of Law pocket money that my mother gave me to go to the Kenya School of Law. So I went to law school, remember, left my village, went to the capital city, Nairobi, eventually came back home because I was put on an online class due to the COVID situation that was going on, and had not been vaccinated. So I was spending a lot of time in my apartment, doing a little bit of online writing for some students here in the US, and studies. So I decided the best decision to do would be to come back home, save the money that I would use on rent, food and everything, buy a nice GoPro and a good laptop that could process 4K footage very well. I get back home, I travel to Uganda using the money, made amazing food content, but it reached a point where everything just tanked out, and I'd monetized my YouTube then, but then I was not making money because my videos were being pushed to Asia. So my RPMs were terrible. So if you don't know about RPMs, RPM stands for revenue per mille. Mille is 1,000. So YouTube pays you for 1,000 views that you make. And for you to make good money from YouTube, that means your revenue has to be, according to what I think, above at least $4. Now, when my videos were being pushed to Asia, I was being paid, my RPM was 0.0 something. Now that was crazy. I mean, technically you can't make anything with such RPMs. And some people say, oh, it's because of racism and all that thing. If a certain audience, I mean, certain groups of people from different parts of the world get paid less. But I totally do understand the dynamics. Is if your audience is from a certain region, then YouTube is going to pay you more, because the advertisers want people from certain regions because they do have the purchasing power, and YouTube makes its revenue from advertising, the ads that you see on your video. So I did a lot of things, took a lot of drastic, desperate measures to make people watch. I mean, not that it was that bad, but I remember trying clickbaity titles, thumbnails, and all that, but it never really turned out well. So after doing it for another year, I decided to pivot again, to change content to now making agricultural content, because I could access it easily, and most people who are coming to Africa, especially Black Americans who would watch my videos, or who I thought would watch my videos, started watching my videos. And so I thought, if they want to come back to Africa, and there's a silent movement that is happening of Black Americans going back to Africa, if they want to come to Africa, most of them want to do farming. Let me make farming videos, and I could meet and sell the idea of making content to agripreneurs in Africa, because they have nothing to lose but everything to gain, and they don't have anything to hide. So I started making those videos, and slowly by slowly my RPM changed. Now I'm starting to get paid. My RPM shoot up to $3, $5, $4, and I see the revenue, the YouTube revenue changing. But then it got a time when I actually had to make a decision to come to the United States. And ever since I landed in the United States, I thought things were going to be different, because I thought I was going to make content on even bigger projects and bigger interesting people, but then it did not happen quite the same. So it's been quite a struggle. I've tried to change I've tried to embrace different content strategies, but I've realized, hey, you know what? I'm not connecting with you guys. I'm not connecting with people, both in my Mess Times YouTube channel, that was my flag bearer, and in this channel. I'm not connecting with you people. I'm not telling you my story. I'm not giving you guys my information, and I don't really have a community per se. So after all that, I feel like I've really put in a lot of effort. It's taken a toll on me mentally. It's distracted me from other things that I should have done and probably gotten successful up until this point. So I just evaluated everything, and I thought, I'm gonna give it one last shot. And what is that? Where did I go wrong? Because I've learned a lot of things on YouTube, made a ton of mistakes, and I think it's time to make it right and to give it one last chance. So in this channel, The Far Out Clan, I'm gonna be telling you guys, sharing my experiences, trying my best to make good videos for you guys to watch every week, and that is a commitment that I'm gonna keep. And if you're watching this video, just feel free to ask anything about my life, about my family, how I got to the United States, my experiences. I've talked to a couple of friends of mine. I keep my circle very small, and every single friend of mine that I talk to are like, hey, how is life? What is happening in the USA? What are the culture shocks? So the topics are endless, and I feel I'm a very, not to brag, but I feel I've traversed different communities. I've had very interesting interactions, experiences, having been a person who grew up in the village, living the village, gone to university, studied law, then coming to the United States, not coming just to the United States, but coming and integrating with inside the Mennonite community, which is a culture inside, a conservative culture inside America, getting baptized, joining the church, becoming a Mennonite. I feel there's a lot of things that I could share with you guys. So feel free to ask me any questions, and let's see where this is gonna end. So that is the reason why I'm making this video, on the brink of quitting YouTube, and I feel, let's give it one last shot and see the outcome. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.